boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. I'm sure you've heard by now. Goldenboy Promotions and DAZN officially announced multi-year extension. Goldenboy and DAZN have worked together since the streaming service's foray into boxing in late 2018, with Saul Canelo Alvarez headlining the first card that December. Goldenboy's deal with DAZN originally ended last December, though they worked together to put on cards on January 16th and March 14th in California. The extension now puts Goldenboy, Matchroom, Queensberry, and Top Rank all on DAZN. We're firing on all cylinders right now, said Chairman and Goldenboy CEO Oscar De La Hoya in a press release. No one builds champions like we do. It's a special formula mixed with a fighter's talent, discipline, and star power. As we approach a decade with DAZN, we're going to keep setting the tone for the sport in 2026 and shaping the future of boxing, DAZN's CEO of Global Sports, Pete Oliver, said. They were delighted to extend terms. Oscar and the team consistently deliver world-class events and develop some of boxing's most exciting talent. The renewed agreement strengthens our shared commitment to growing the sport globally and giving fans unmatched access to unforgettable fight nights. We are excited for what comes next. The primary incentive of keeping Goldenboy Promotions on the platform, even alongside Top Rank that I thought might be replacing them, is to have something for their American subscribers. It's all well and good to corner the UK market via Matchroom and Queensberry, but those are cards that come on in the afternoon. In the evening, during prime time hours for a boxing match, you're going to need more than just the few shows that Matchroom does in the United States. Enter both Top Rank and Goldenboy, and you've covered all the bases in tandem with now having to compete with Zuffa Boxing. Keeping Goldenboy Promotions on board alongside the addition of Top Rank gives DAZN a familiarity that Zuffa simply can't buy, even with all their money. They just don't have the brand trust that Top Rank has, that Goldenboy has. The promotion's roster includes undisputed flyweight champion Gabby Fundora, unified champions Oscar Collazo and Zurdo Ramirez, as well as newly crowned WBC welterweight champion Ryan Garcia. Gabriela Fundora and Oscar Collazo both earned stoppage wins during the same show earlier this month. The next card currently on the calendar for Goldenboy is Ramirez, defending his WBA and WBO cruiserweight titles against WBC light heavyweight champion David Benavidez on May 2nd at the T-Mobile Arena. The card is being broadcast on both Prime Video pay-per-view and DAZN pay-per-view, the latter as part of the DAZN Ultimate Plan for its existing subscribers. Now that both sides have finalized the deal, they're singing each other's praises, and it's all sunshine and rainbows, but I think that Goldenboy is particularly fortunate to have reached this extension with DAZN, because just imagine if they hadn't. If they had to get out there in the open market, what network would have picked them up? It's not that many American broadcasters pouring money into boxing. It's really down to just DAZN and Paramount. Amazon Prime doesn't really count because they're not necessarily an American broadcaster, and even if they were, they're not kicking out any money to the PBC. That's why most of what they do is on pay-per-view. Goldenboy is lucky. Damn lucky. I really do think a part of what went into DAZN's decision to keep them on board is having to compete with Zuffa. All hands on deck. If you didn't keep Goldenboy Promotions on board and they washed up someplace else, that'd be one more broadcaster you'd have to compete with. All hands on deck. So Goldenboy Promotions now has the stability to aid DAZN in the effort to combat Zuffa Boxing and everything they're trying to do within the boxing space. Sort of an Avengers Assemble kind of moment. The only missing puzzle piece would have to be the PBC. Given how things are happening, I don't rule out the possibility that they might also migrate over to DAZN, because for what they're doing on Amazon Prime, they could do the exact same thing on DAZN. What's that? Pay-per-views, mostly. DAZN has had pay-per-view functionality for some time now, that if that's what you want to do, they can accommodate you. Moreover, if you go over there, you might actually get some regular dates for your fighters to keep them active and keep them busy and fall under that umbrella that now houses most of the big-time promoters on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. It really is the home of boxing.
Who would win, him or Boots?
I like Boots. In my opinion, I mean, I like Boots. I don't think Crawford could keep up with somebody that talented and young and fast. I haven't even seen him fight somebody talented, young and fast. Have you? Can you name one?
Nope.
I think Boots gets his ass. But I don't think he's as good as people say. He's not like a Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, not Tommy Hearns. You can't do that because he's not like that, bro. He hasn't fought nobody that has firepower like him.
Ryan Garcia has very quickly gone from saying that Jaron Ennis is the most overrated big name in boxing to now Terence Crawford being the most overrated big name in boxing. Literally, in a matter of weeks, he's gone from trashing Jaron Ennis to saying that Jaron is too talented for Crawford. So Crawford's overrated, and before that, Boots was overrated, and I suppose you're the genuine article. Right? You're the real thing. It's everybody else that's manufactured. You who have already been stopped by Gervonta Davis, dropped in decision by Rolly Romero. And a crowning achievement of your career so far is a win over DAZN that has since been overturned as a result of your doping fiasco. That you have the audacity to take shots at somebody like Crawford? Got a lot of fucking nerve. And it gets worse. Because not only is he saying that Terence Crawford is overrated and Jaron Ennis would beat him, he's saying that he would beat him also. What? Ryan Garcia calls out Terence Crawford saying, "I'll give him the works." The guy who couldn't stop Mario Barrios? Ryan Garcia called out Terence Crawford in a new no-holds-barred rant on X. Crawford retired from boxing unbeaten with a record of 42-0, having beaten Errol Spence Jr. in one of the more meaningful welterweight clashes in the modern era, and Saul Canelo Alvarez in another statement-making win, calling the curtain on his career late last year. Garcia, by contrast, is more erratic and capable of lower lows, but possibly higher highs. Thanks to a knockout loss to Gervonta Davis and a dominant defeat to Rolly Romero. This guy wants me and you to believe he beats Crawford. Because of a clinical win over Mario Barrios, which re-established him this year as a force to be reckoned with. For Garcia, Crawford is far from exempt when it comes to the career and legacy he left behind. Bud retired while there was still a lot of smoke left. When it came to fighting younger boxers, Garcia seemingly only stopped at one, Gamboa, maybe, he said, in a post that has since been removed from the platform. But name another fresh, talented fighter that he beat. When this guy says fresh, I don't really know what he means because Victor Postol was unbeaten when Terence Crawford beat him. So was Julius Ndongo. So was Jeff Horn. So was Errol Spence Jr. Errol's actually younger than Terence Crawford. And so is Canelo Alvarez. So when he says fresh, I don't really know what he means. He said when Crawford fought them, Canelo was 35, Spence was 33, and Madrimov was 29. Yeah, and Crawford was older than all three of those guys, so what the fuck are you talking about? He's literally older than Canelo, than Spence, than Madrimov. Other fighters routinely ranged from 29 to 34. One boxer out of that norm was Thomas Delorme, who was 25. In another post that has since been removed, Garcia said, "Crawford ducked Boots, Shakur ducked me," a reference to a claim made without evidence. The pound-for-pound staple, Shakur Stevenson, a protege of Crawford's, is avoiding a fight with him. So says Ryan Garcia. He said Crawford ducked Boots and Shakur ducked me. Oh, I get it. So he momentarily stopped calling Jaron Ennis the most overrated big name in boxing so he could use him as ammunition against Terence Crawford. Now, there are a few fighters that rank higher right now than Shakur Stevenson. Worldwide, thanks to back-to-back wins over William Zepeda at lightweight and Teofimo Lopez at super lightweight, a result that made the fight world sit up and take notice. Perhaps speaking to fans who took umbrage with his earlier comments, Garcia seemingly said he doesn't need to make comments such as this to make the world take notice when he has previously let his fists do the talking inside the ring, while his follower counts across multiple platforms speak to his social media cachet. You guys think I need attention for mentioning Crawford? Garcia finished. In another post, since removed, no one knows who he is other than boxing people. I'm just speaking the truth. Well, who's supposed to know who he is besides boxing people? He's a fucking boxer. Not an Instagram model like you're trying to be. A Twitch streamer. You think a 38-year-old Crawford, after everything he's accomplished and all the millions upon millions of dollars that he's made, that you haven't made, is hung up about what a bunch of teens and tweens are talking about? The freaks and geeks that you appeal to? Those fucking losers? Ryan Garcia continued, "He's talking about me crazy and thinking Shakur will make it look easy, so I'm saying you ain't shit, and I can give you all the work you can have." Let me start off by saying that this is just rage bait. I don't actually need to run down an itemized list of reasons why Crawford is many times a better boxer than Ryan Garcia. You guys already know that. You understand that, but what else you need to understand is that this is rage bait. Ryan Garcia is the boxing version of Neon. You know, the skinny little streamer? That's what Ryan Garcia is, minus the glasses. A skinny little worm who, as soon as you press him, he's going to fold.
No, I know that. That's what I'm saying. It's good. It's good.
We have a workshop, all right?
Okay, for sure. All right, for sure. I don't know about what, but what's up?
We were talking shit on some comments saying some dude should have put a video, right? And then you put washed. He's one of my favorite pirates.
I never said that. Prove it to me. Prove it to me, then I'll say sorry.
We'll go back on the air.
I promise.
Yeah, because I don't like all that.
No, I'm a man. If I really did say that, I'll say sorry.
Crawford got his hands on this guy. Everybody knows what would happen. So does Ryan. He knows. But what he also knows is Terrence Crawford is retired. The likelihood of them ever being in the same ring is unlikely. So he gets to shoot off at the mouth and say whatever, devoid of consequence. He knows that. He also knows how absolutely ridiculous he appears to the people hearing this stuff, but that's what he wants. He wants to elicit a reaction, preferably an infuriated one. Rage, outrage. Because he knows he ain't shit. And he knows he ain't gonna be shit. When he leaves the sport of boxing, he ain't gonna be no 4 or 5 weight world champion. He ain't gonna be undisputed. None of it. He knows that. He hails from a generation of serial underachievers who can't seem to mirror the successes of their predecessors. He says, Crawford ain't no Sugar Ray Leonard. Ryan, you ain't no Oscar De La Hoya. Not even in terms of marquee value. For all of the hullabaloo around Ryan Garcia's social media following, tell me, what did the Barrios pay-per-view sell? Because it's been weeks, and we haven't gotten a ballpark figure yet. And before that, what did the Rolly Romero pay-per-view sell? When you talk about Ryan, you can't actually talk about fighting ability because underneath it all, most people don't think he's that good a fighter. All you can really talk about is his notoriety via social media. But is that actually translating into big pay-per-view buys? Then where are the numbers? If he did 500,000 with Rolly or 500,000 with Mario Barrios, don't you think we would have heard about it by now? He didn't. And that's why we still haven't. What about before that, 3 fights ago when he fought Devin? According to Oscar De La Hoya, who promoted the show, the numbers for it were underwhelming. That didn't do big buys either. That's why afterwards, both Devin and Ryan were expecting to make a lot more money than they actually made. Because it didn't sell that much, so whenever you hear about Ryan's social media following, I don't actually know what that's worth if it's not translating into big pay-per-view buys or big gate receipts. What's it worth? In the realm of accolades, Ryan Garcia is not actually that accomplished. After having campaigned in 3 separate weight classes, he just now won a title. Just now. He's not accomplished, he's not that good a boxer, he doesn't sell that much either. He's underwhelming in that arena too. He knows that. Ryan's not stupid, he just says stupid shit in order to elicit a reaction. Rage. Outrage. Because this is rage bait. That's what the kids in your generation do, you pranksters. There's nothing serious about you guys. Nobody takes you guys seriously, and at this point, even you know they're not going to. So the most you can do is give them a cortisol spike. Say something so stupid. Something dumb enough to make them mad. It's kids stuff. And those are the only people that Ryan Garcia kind of appeals to. Kids. Teens and tweens, which wouldn't be so bad if they actually bought your fights. Ryan's gonna keep shooting off at the mouth until the next embarrassing moment happens, and rest assured, one will, because he ain't good. He's not a good fighter. Not here because of his fighting ability. He's here because a bunch of dorks online followed him on Instagram. That's it. And the stuff about Shakur? Him carrying on about Shakur Stevenson. Well, Bernie the Boxer has a theory about that. Terrence Crawford's buddy.
Ryan is now thinking about having some talks with Teofimo Lopez. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, I think it's coming off an ass whooping like that, I would like to see Teofimo get some more confidence. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he just got his ass beat by Shakur. You know, got his ass beat. See, both his eyes were closed. He got his ass beat. So I don't know how big his stock is. You know what I'm saying? He got his ass beat. It wasn't a close fight. Got his ass beat. So Ryan is just trying to find a way to milk the title. It's been talks about then you got to understand his over talking, because it was going to be a 144-pound weight class. That's what Shakur wanted. And obviously he was going up to 47 in that situation, which anything over 140 is 147. And he gave great reasons for that weight class. But upon all the speculation, Ryan with his big mouth spoke up and said, well, I'll go down to 140. And we've had yet to hear that. It's nothing from that. So, Ryan is just a bunch of talk.
Pretty much. He's talking trash about Boots, but he ain't about to fight him. Now he's talking trash about Terrence, and we all know he's not about to fight him. Same would apply to Shakur. He's talking trash about him, but he's not gonna fight him. I saw when he said that too, that he'd be willing to come down to 140 pounds to fight Shakur. Not gonna do it. If he does end up fighting Teofimo Lopez, like Bernie the Boxer says, what does that do at the box office? Commercially, what is that fight worth? They would undoubtedly bill it as a pay-per-view to satisfy Ryan's financial demands and Teofimo's. How many pay-per-views does that sell? Teofimo's last performance was not the best advertisement for his boxing ability for yet another pay-per-view, and Ryan... What were the numbers for his last fight? This would be a big opportunity for Teofimo Lopez, who's coming off a lopsided loss to Shakur Stevenson. This would be the chance for him to become a 3-weight world champion. Can he do it? That depends. By now we all know that Teofimo Lopez, on occasion, can be a rather talented counterpuncher, hanging back, setting traps, and walking his opponent into shots. But because Ryan Garcia is noticeably taller and longer than Teofimo, and he's got some speed, he doesn't need to be close to him to hit him. Teofimo might have to be the one that comes forward on this one, and therein lies the dilemma. He's no good on the front foot. We just saw that. Been seeing that. It's an interesting fight. You could argue that Teofimo Lopez is the better boxer of the two, though perhaps not the better physical specimen, the bigger physical specimen, and size plays a factor. Size matters. Don't let anybody tell you different. It has its role to play. Ryan's got to fight somebody while he waits for Devin Haney to become available for a rematch. Devin is rumored to be going into a unification fight with Rolly Romero. If he wins, he can then settle up with Ryan afterwards, or Teofimo if he beats him. I don't get up for these kids' fights. When I hear that Devin is maybe fighting Rolly, and Ryan is maybe fighting Teofimo, I don't really get excited. I don't really care. And I'm a die-hard boxing fan. I have been for many years, but today's welterweight division, I really don't get up for these guys in their fights. I don't really care, even when it's a unification match. Oh, what? Maybe it's because I don't think Rolly's a real champion, and the only reason he's got a belt is because the WBA protected him. Maybe. Maybe I think the same thing about Ryan. The powers that be might have got you to a title, but it's not because you're a good fighter. Not. You lost to Rolly Romero, and because of your perceived marquee value, you were still able to get a title shot. After that, you won. But against who? Mario Barrios? Whoop-de-fucking-do. Stop the presses. I look at today's welterweight division, and all I see is the weakest era of welterweight champions I've ever seen. To the point I'm not interested in their careers. I don't care what happens, who wins and who loses. You guys suck. So Teofimo Lopez, coming off a loss, might be fighting Ryan. Very obvious angling there. Most interesting thing that could happen is if Teofimo upsets Ryan. Coming off a loss, though, and not making any additions and improvements to his corner, hard to say what's going to happen. For me, it's hard to care.